All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Two Men in Black and White. Obama 2028. It could happen. We're having an honest conversation here today. Hey, Donald Trump, his health is failing. It's everywhere. It's the latest scuttlebutt on social media. You know what? You never really want to wish ill upon a person, but Donald Trump, for what he has done to this country, to people in this country, for what he's doing to Juan Garcia Abrega, is absolutely abhorrent. And you know what? I can't wish him well. Just not at all. The Christian in me won't let me pray for his demise, but I can't wish him well. All right, let's join Brock Ganeles, who joins us from the beautiful confines of the Hudson River Valley. And he's been on the road once again because he refuses to fly. Brock Ganeles, what say you, my friend? The failing health of the president, is it an issue? These bruises on his hands, have you seen these? They do not look good at all.
And he was dragging it. He's dragging his right leg too when dragging the leg.
Doesn't look good.
Well, he found a diversion from the Epstein files for a couple days. So maybe as he just falls apart and disintegrates in front of our eyes, maybe that'll take the eyes off of Ghislaine Maxwell's dallying down the street while the worst pedophile in American history. Yeah, I don't root for Trump's health demise because I want him defeated by the people. I don't want him to just melt away due to his unhealthy lifestyle.
Right.
So it is a story, though, because somehow, right, Jake Tapper wrote the best-selling book. It was such a big story about Biden's declining health, right?
Yeah.
Biden looked vigorous, right? The guy was out bike riding. He was like living an active life, granted losing some mental capacity, but Trump has lost mental capacity and he looks like someone who's dying in front of us.
Yeah, I am shocked. He's even playing golf. Obviously he's in a cart, but imagine if he had to walk 9 or 18.
Yeah, but his caddies are flipping his ball into the fairway no matter where he slices it, right? So his round of golf is definitely a straight walk.
Yeah.
To birdie or par on every hole because he's club champion at multiple clubs at age 79.
Right, clubs that he owns. Unbelievable. But, MAGA is up in arms about his health. There is no replacement, right? Because nobody else has the balls or the cachet to be able to do what he's done, right? Because, who else is there?
No one.
Only Kirk?
No one before him's ever been able to do it and get this massive movement, right? Many have tried. Many have had the same racist underlying, message basically from Buchanan to David Duke to George Wallace in the 60s, right? And certainly others that have flirted with it in maybe a less overt way. But Trump just did a better job of pulling it off.
Right.
Right?
Right. And the thing about it was, remember, Trump was at his brokest when The Apprentice came and reinvigorated his life, right? Trump's conference room and conference table was so shoddy and in such disrepair, they had to redo the whole thing in order to shoot the show. His whole existence is lies and daddy's money.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I borrowed $1 million from my dad, paid it back, small $1 million loan. You did nothing. You went belly up in a casino that hadn't even opened yet because you suck as a builder. Remember the Jersey casino, the big huge one that was supposed to Taj Mahal, supposed to be this, that, and the third? The guy couldn't even get it open without daddy was running down there, buying chips to insert cash into the business to try to keep it afloat. Daddy couldn't get up and down the Jersey Turnpike fast enough to keep that place afloat.
But Project 2025 is rolling along behind him, right? As you mentioned at the top, Abrego Garcia and the un-American Gestapo nature of Department of Homeland Security that we, of course, is called on to be abolished and to be a main part of a democratic platform going forward is to abolish ICE and DHS and, if necessary, create something brand new. But literally just burn that department to the ground and figure something better out. But Abrego wasn't a part of a gang, no MS-13. They couldn't find any criminality. They shipped him off to, where'd they say, El Salvador. They had to bring him back because the negative press was too much. Now that he's back, he's now released from, jail, so to speak, or concentration camps. And now they're talking about shipping him to Uganda, of all places, a country I'm sure he's never been to and has no ties to. And there's absolutely no reason in any just version of America where he would be A, deported, and B, deported to a country not of his origin. I mean, it's just, it's absurd.
It's ludicrous. It's un-American. It's inhumane. It's cruel and unusual. It is disgusting. It is beneath us as We are no, Brock, remember, we have crossed into tyranny. We are an authoritarian state. We are no longer the shining star on the hill. Does anyone not care? I put on my Facebook page the other day, who wakes up and says, shit, this is not a dream? We got about 15 to 20. I do, but I don't see you. I don't see you in the streets. I don't see you breaking shit. I don't see you shutting this thing down. So we've got to get people to say, hey, this is enough, right? This is enough. Not only did you see the picture of the guy, I believe it was in Missouri, masked up ICE agent with a t-shirt on that says, this is our fucking city. While he's pushing a guy away, an obviously brown man.
Yeah, our city. Yeah, I mean, it's a white supremacy, an internal white supremacy armed force.
Yep.
And look, it's un-American. What I wonder about the 14 people on your Facebook is, like, are they even making noise? Like, are they riling up the people around them? Because that's part of the game also. Like, once you move out of complacency, you need to move the next person out of complacency. Your job is to now pull them out of the complacency, right? Absolutely. And you just can't let people rolling along, in essence, and I'm guilty of this as well. As I say it, I think about myself as well. Like, we can't let people just talk to us about the upcoming NFL football season and pretend like we're just rolling into fall with all the normalities of full foliage and college football and the grandiosity and beauty of America and the pageantry of America as if we're in a normal setting, right? Because I'm sure that's what they did in Germany for those 1936 Olympics. Like, just rolled along for the pageantry, like, hey, sports, everybody's here. Look at the world all coming to us. Let's just act like things are normal.
Right.
And you can't let people do that.
And that's what's going on, Brock.
And that's a white man's mandate, right? So I understand as I say it, that's a mandate to myself.
But Brock, we've normalized this shit already. I think it's too normal. I went in the grocery store today, the fruit bins, normally full, teeming with fruit down here in the South, right? We get good fruit down here because we're not far from Florida, Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, right? All these places that are producing the fruit producing states. Nothing in these bins, bro. Nothing in the berry bins, the grape bins. Nothing. Empty. I should have taken a picture of it because I'm sure but this is Trump's economy. This is the US that Trump wants.
That's why
been told
the most trending videos on TikTok and the like are rural white farmers and Americans talking about, like, montages of them, with the regretting the vote, talking about how their businesses are going under. And, it's hard to sympathize. I mean, it's so obvious as they tell as they tell their sad stories. It was like, why did you think this wasn't coming your way? So they're getting hurt. They don't have workers, right? And as consumers, you don't have selection, so prices are up because they have to raise prices because they're just trying to survive over here because their businesses, they can't do it on volume. So they have to sell you that one bushel that they're able to harvest with the 2 workers that are left. And they got to price it up because they're going under.
Right. And it's pathetic. It is pathetic that he did this to his own people. But again, remember, I've said this, numerous times. It's almost like he had a to-do list of how to break down America and how to destroy America from the inside out without firing a bullet.
Project 2025.
Yep.
He had a blueprint. Look, Trump doesn't think of this shit. He thinks of the racist stuff. He thinks of the stuff that can make him money. He's just jammed in a room like today with the head of South Korea, and he's just babbling bullshit, talking about Kim Jong-un, like just going off the rails as usual. He doesn't think of any of this shit. He didn't even come up with the sending the troops into the cities, right? But he loves the idea because he thinks it makes him look like a strong man. So now he's talking Chicago, right? 3 days ago, we had the conversation speculating on what the next city would be. And now it looks like it's going to be Chicago. Well, as you said, Pritzker and that mayor in Chicago, I don't know if they don't have the horses to fight back, but they're making a lot of noise. Like, they have to at the least show the absurdity of it, and then it's up to the people of Chicago.
Well, you know what? You got to take a page out of Gavin Newsom's playbook, right? You got to push back. You got to push back hard, and you got to ridicule him.
Wes Moore's doing that now.
Wes Moore is doing it, right? He took some shots at Wes Moore. You got the nerve to throw shots at Wes Moore, a war veteran, right? A best-selling author, right? A governor, a man who ran a successful nonprofit, Robin Hood, in your fair state of New York City. And you know what? This guy is above reproach, right? A family man, right? Who didn't have the bootstraps to pull up.
But
If you read his book, The Other Wes Moore, you'll see what the tough side of Baltimore that he came from and how he's a self-made man, unlike this goon in the White House.
Okay, this is the second podcast in a row that you're trying to get me to read a book. I get it. You're trying. But I got a good TV show for you. We'll get to that at the end.
Okay.
Look, Wes Moore, I think, looked over what Gavin Newsom was doing and said, even if he's just a politically ambitious, he's probably like, whoa, Gavin Newsom's pulling ahead here. I got to fucking step it up. And he has. He's talking about the redistricting, and he's just directly been starting to mock Trump, which is good because he's right on Trump's doorstep, right? Like, he's almost like a neighbor yelling over the fence, So I like what he's doing. And of course, he's also a black guy. So that's even going to bother Trump more because he does, his racism will kick in. So his reaction may really go off the rails. We may see something like totally crazy racist out of Trump if Wes Moore keeps getting under his skin.
Which is...
And let it happen.
Yeah, we may need that, right? That may be the motivation to get Black America out here. Now, another cat who's coming for everybody, I'm not sure if you saw this, I sent you the clip, but Nick Fuentes is hot as fish grease with the whole MAGA wing about all they've tried. Matter of fact, he alleged on his podcast that they tried to unalive him recently. And he says he's got all the receipts. And he's coming for everybody and everything. And he's spilling all the beans.
Why? Look, you can't get me to watch Nick Fuentes. So you got to tell me what he was saying. He's pretty kind of Nazi adjacent. He's...
That's what I'm saying.
He's hardcore.
And you know who ran the clip? Tabitha Speaks. Ran the clip. So I knew I had to watch.
I missed it. I try not to miss a Tabitha Speaks clip, and I missed that one.
Oh my gosh! Yes, and he had guns.
Why?
He was cussing.
Why?
At the mouth because of the Remember we talked about the hypocrisy of the Republican Party, MAGA/Republicans. He's pissed off about it, so he's naming names.
What, the Epstein files or the gay Republicans who are like what's under his skin?
The money that people are making. Right? And then they want to try to X certain people out. So so he's calling out all the relationships. For example, who do you think how does Tucker Carlson walk away from being one of the highest paid people
Is it
at
Russia? Is Russia paying him?
No,
There's a
not
few.
Russia,
No.
but he identified the guy. I can't remember the name. I watched it on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm getting old, but he identifies the people who are in bed paying Tucker Carlson. Not that he needs the money because his family is uber rich, but he got 15 million bucks from one of these benefactors that are down here doing the dirty work. Then, the JD Vance connection is in there as well. And how, nobody wanted JD Vance as the vice president pick, but, some of these, Nick Fuentes lays out how he ended up as the pick.
West Coast Money wanted him. Peter Thiel and the
Yes.
Palantir guy, and it's paying off for them in spades. I mean, Palantir's getting government contracts left and right.
And he's laying all that out. And that's why they want him gone.
Good. I love when they're fight. I love when they're infighting, and when Alex Jones is doing shit and all that. Like let them tear each other. When Loomer's going after MTG, they go at each other harder than we go after them. Let's face it. Like we got to learn from them, right? They just come with more venom.
Well, I saw Pritzker tonight, and he went pretty hard on those Republican governors whose crime rates are way higher than his, right? Memphis, Tennessee, where else? Another southern city with crime rates much higher than Chicago's. Okay, so why aren't the National Guardsmen going there? Mike DeWine in Ohio. What are you doing sending National Guard troops to freaking D.C.? Right, Mississippi's got some crime-ridden areas there. You talk about Jackson, got some issues there, and some of those smaller cities, there's some crime-ridden issues. Louisiana, Baton Rouge, remember Alton Sterling? We went through that before.
Well, also, Mark, that your point was reinforced. I saw a story, maybe in the Washington Post or the Times, one of those publications that I don't subscribe to. I did see a story one of them did where they've been tracking where the guardsmen are patrolling, and it has been in wealthier neighborhoods. Yeah, they have not And now that they're armed, they may move out of like the Tony areas, right? Now that they're allowed to be armed, but even they just were walking around Georgetown, right?
Right. But Brock, you're not going to send untrained. Did you see Dean Cain trying to go through the training?
Yeah. It was absurd.
What a joke. Really?
Yeah.
You're going to go take on some of the toughest people in America in some of these crime-ridden areas? Let me tell you something. D.C. is about that life. All right. If you're going to go try to take on crime in D.C. and you're a washed up has-been one show and done actor, you're probably need to have your affairs in order before you get involved with that, because it could be some slow singing and flower bringing for you after that.
I mean, Mark, it's still amazing that we've had all these ICE raids. We've had all this National Guard activity, first in Los Angeles, then in D.C., and we really have not had a major incident yet. It's a ticking clock, right? It's inevitable. Right. It will happen, but it hasn't happened yet. It's just really remarkable. Trump's fucking lucky that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. And it's all because they've stayed away.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a design to it. Yeah, that they're out there but not really doing anything.
Yeah, you can go arouse brown people on the Magic Mile in Chicago. How's that going to help you with your crime problem? Right? That's not the hot spots. I don't know Chicago well enough to tell you where they are, but hey, there are parts of Harlem where they could probably walk around and not have any heat at all. Right? You got some rejuvenated areas in Harlem.
But if they get too close to Columbia, there might be some protests, and then that would cause problems. Can't have protesters anymore in America. Protests. No, we don't do protests. That amendment's wiped away. Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
Right. So Brock, it's all a joke. It's all performative. We've said this before, and we'll say it again until people start getting riled up enough to do something about it.
But people are peeling away, right? The MAGA base is even, like you said, showing cracks. Trump's approval ratings are, of course, down, but they're even starting to bleed a little bit in that core base, which maybe it's not 30 to 35%. Maybe it's only 20, right? Maybe there's the 10 to 15, in there that are like, they're getting tired of what they see, or they're farmers and they're getting crushed, or they happen to live in a rural area that's losing its health care, because that's the other viral videos that are going around, is all these MAGA people that are all of a sudden realizing that their parents are getting kicked out of their assisted living facilities because Medicaid's not covering it anymore because the Medicaid cuts. Like, they didn't think the Medicaid cuts were going to touch them. So there's all the videos of the parents moving back home out of the facilities. Those are white people problems that are maybe chipping away at the base, and maybe that's what we're starting to see in the approval ratings. But well ahead of the bleeding of approval on the MAGA side, we should have the mass protests on the left, and we're still not coming. We still haven't done ourselves proud on that way to.
And and that's the thing that's upsetting. You hate to see elderly family members suffering, right? Because Brock, as someone who has just gone through that with my mom, trying to understand elder care. Look, if you're not trained to do that, it's hard as hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is not easy.
But let me throw a counterpoint. I know. I'm going to throw a counterpoint at your sentimentality.
Yeah.
If you're somebody for whom that is an issue, right? That's a pretty fucking big kitchen table issue, right? So how is it possible that policies that fuck up your parents' life and then fuck up yours are blindside you? Like, how is that not something that you figured out or looked into before deciding where you stand in the political sphere? How do you get surprised by that?
Light bulb. It's the racism. It must be the hate. And you're
Just blinded.
You're not thinking about the ramifications. That's the only thing it could be, bro. Or you're thinking like our Latino community was thinking, well, he's not going to do it to us.
Somebody else. Yeah, somebody else.
It's not going to be us. That's going to be the black and brown people. Why would he hurt us? We're white. Right? I mean, that's the only way you can square it. I mean, I know it's not rational, but that's the only way we can square it.
It's a big miss, right? It's got to be it has to be one of the top issues in your life if that's something that you're dealing with. Right. And then to actually vote against your own personal situation, be it economic and quality of life, for the most important people in your family, like, that's just a fucking huge miss. That's beyond, rationality.
Yeah. And, and what has racism taught us? Racism is not rational.
Yeah.
Right? So.
To be blinded about that, right? To imagine being in, like, rural Iowa and you're worried about migrants at the border, and that's more important to you than whether your parents are getting elder care at a proper facility, or that's something that you can even have them be in a facility versus you doing the care yourself. Imagine worrying about the border more than that issue that's your day-to-day about some fake fucking migrant caravans coming through the border when you probably don't have a person of color in your entire fucking community. Exactly. I mean, it's just amazing.
Exactly. And remember, they were afraid about the caravan that was coming that never made it.
Yeah.
Which journalist actually went back and did the math to see if that caravan arrived? I can't call any.
Yeah.
Right? All of a sudden, we just stopped talking about it.
Yeah. Right? I was going to say, if there's one, it was maybe that guy Jacob Soboroff on MSNBC, who was actually down there a lot. So I can think of one guy who actually covered it. Right. Certainly MAGA stopped covering. None of the right wing, they just used it ahead of the elections. That story went away the day after the votes were tallied. They've never talked about that shit again. Now they're just talking about what color they're painting the fucking wall. Right? Christine Gnome's down there coloring it black so it's, quote, hotter in the sun. Come on.
Right. Fucking joke. It really is ridiculous. But before we wrap up, you got a TV show for me? Because I need the name of that Ed Sullivan documentary you were telling me about. I've been looking for it.
It's on, I think it might be called like Mr. Sunday Night, something like that, or Sunday Night. I think Sunday Night's in it because that's when his show was.
Okay.
Well, this is one that maybe you're watching because I think maybe I don't not having TV, but having stayed in a hotel last night. Me and my wife, we may have stumbled across something that is mainstream black community television, which is the Bravo show about Nelly and Ashanti. Absolutely fantastic.
Not watching
My
it.
wife must have watched like 6 episodes last night. Maybe it was on, yeah, I think it was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was on Bravo. Not watching it? What a great story, Nelly and Ashanti, because they got together when they were younger, and then they were too young, and like, it fell apart because, Nelly was probably running around or something. They didn't exactly say what it was. And then they were apart for 10 years, and then Fat Joe got them together at one of those Versus concerts. And he brought Nelly in as a special guest, and Ashanti was on there, and they had a little hug, and it's a great story. And then, all right, the white guy's got to tell you about Nelly and Ashanti, and plus he's old school, so like, love him.
Hey, look, I rock with Ashanti. Nelly took the money, took the payoff.
You're not a Nelly guy.
Perf-
When?
Recently, I want to say at the inauguration.
You just ruined the show for me, man. I enjoyed like 4 episodes I watched.
Hey, we're honest with each other.
Okay.
You let me know that white America
Fucking Nelly. St. Louis? He's from St. Louis? What,
St.
like
Louis,
the Missouri? Like he's out there voting for what's his name? Josh whatever, that fucking senator from Missouri. He's voting, he's a Josh Hawley guy? Nelly's a Josh Hawley guy?
Remember Hawley on January 6th with his
Yeah.
fist up in the air?
Fist in the air and then running like
Yeah.
the fastest sprint he ever had, like to get safe.
He ran like he was in a lion's den with pork chop underwear. He ran across that Capitol Hill floor fast as his little skinny little legs.
Oh my God, I can't believe I ran into Black MAGA. Show was funny. 2 of them are funny.
Nelly, Trump, performance. Pop right up for me. Nelly performs at Trump's Liberty Ball amid backlash. I'm part of the backlash, if you didn't know.
Meanwhile, Snoop is saying stupid shit about
About
two
the game.
gay people kissing in a movie. Like that was a big problem for him because he couldn't explain it to his kids. Hey Snoop, how about just taking 60 seconds, thinking it through, and like fucking explaining it to your kids? It's not that hard.
Well,
Sorry, it's not that difficult a conversation.
How do you explain gangster rap to your kids? How do you explain your lyrics to your kids? Right? How do you explain gin and juice to your kids? How do you explain the chronic to your kids? How do you explain your murder trial to your kids, where you cried like a baby when you got off for taking another man's life? We know you were there. You may not have pulled the trigger, Snoop, but you were there. How do you explain that to your kids? Hey, look, I'm not the moral majority around here. I'm not the morality police. Lord knows I've made mistakes in my life, but I haven't taken anybody's life under the blue flag, under the gang culture, under the gang life. I haven't promoted it. I haven't been walking around with pounds of weed promoting the benefits of marijuana. How do you explain that how do you explain any video with you in it that your children see? Snoop, how do you explain West Coast gangster hip hop that ruined a generation? How do you explain the West Coast hip hop correlation to private prisons and the numbers that shot up? Brock, you just saw the documentary on the numbers. All right? I'll send you the letter that Crazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony read out loud on his show, talking about the correlation between private prison investment and the record labels, and what they were told at a secret meeting that allegedly happened in Los Angeles. Whether or not the meeting happened is immaterial. The numbers are not lying. The numbers are not lying. The author of the letter refused to disclose his name because he was afraid. But when you looked at those numbers, right? Remember the crime bill? Remember how the numbers shot up from like 700,000 to 2.3 million? Okay, those are black and brown kids. That's a generation lost. And it all had to do with The fun, playful, comical hip hop that all went away. The positive, the pro-black, KRS-One, Public Enemy, right? All those groups went away. Kwame, Diggable Planets, all Bismarcky, all the fun people went away right around the time that this author penned this letter. So answer that, Snoop. Read that to your kids. Explain that to your kids. Get out of here, man. Fuck out of here with that, man. I interviewed Snoop, right? And let me tell you something. He was not charismatic at all. So to see him go from cussing me out in a bathroom up at the War Memorial in Rochester, New York, talking about MTV can eat this and eat that and F them and F this. Hey, to see him on the Olympics as a highly promoted entity of Olympic coverage was sickening to me. You know why? Because I don't want my grandson growing up to be like Snoop. There, I said it. That's not the kind of role model I'm looking for.
Well, he was definitely mainstream. I mean, he's mainstream, right? I mean, him and Martha are doing that, but he's, I mean, the Olympics coverage, like he was the center of the whole fucking thing.
Performed at Trump's inauguration by himself with no DJ. Probably couldn't find a DJ to come. Nobody knew the words to your song, Snoop, by the way, when you were at the inauguration. They might have been dancing, but they was off beat and they didn't know the words to your song, homie. They might have been humming along, but that's all they could do. And trust me, if you get cuffed, you're not going to have any help from any of those people in that room.
Well, you saved me the question I was going to ask. I was like, do black people really get mad at other black people that are not like, you know, in essence, you know, hardcore progressive and that like play footsie with MAGA in order to make money? And some people be like, hey, it's a paycheck's a paycheck, you know, because I get pissed at it as a white guy when I see it, right? You know, in the way that, you know, I get mad at, you know, the Jews that are so pro-Trump when he's anti-Semitic. And it's like, oh, it's either the money or like I got to hear about the fucking support of Israel. And I'm like, the guy's got a Gestapo out and concentration camps. Like, okay, they've already basically built the groundwork. Like, you just think somehow you're never going to be targeted because not you're white guys in America. You're never going to be the ones that are thrown in any of these cages. Like, that could never happen to you here when it's happened to our people elsewhere. Like, how could any Jew be in support of MAGA? That's how I look at it, and I'm pissed when I see anyone who does support Trump, and I just wonder if the black community was the same way. You gave me your answer, you know, because I hate when I see it. I hate when it's played, well, you got to play in the white man's world, and it's just played off as, like, you know, a necessary step in, like, me, you know, I don't know what you know, you really get out of it.
Snoop was rich before he did the inauguration. Snoop wasn't even struggling.
You don't need the money. Nelly doesn't need the money either. They don't need the money.
Right. And I'm sorry. I would love to watch Ashanti. She's one of my favorite R&B artists. I love her. Been a fan of her music from day one. With that voice and the songs that she has made, the collaboration she's been a part of, I'm an absolute fan of Ashanti. But again, you did Trump's event because you wanted to, not because you needed the money. If you needed the money, why didn't you come on and say, yo, I'm 3 months behind on my mortgage. I had to take this job. He didn't say that, right? He didn't say my cars were about to get repossessed, you know. I'm about to have this baby and I'm behind on child support on my other 3 kids. He didn't say any of that. He didn't come out and try to qualify or quantify. He went because he wanted to go. So look, you know, I'm not playing your music anymore because I don't want to. You know, Snoop, I skip right over your parts on when I hear your song come on, I skip right over it. And The Chronic was one of, you know, The Dogfather, a couple of my favorite albums. But I'm not with it when you talk about the impact that you got the nerve, the impact that your music has had on this country. Remember, man, go think back to the 90s. Snoop was fighting with African American leaders, women, degrading women, African American pastors and leaders and pillars of the community, trying to defend his music. You can't defend the indefensible, right? Ice Cube, he's another one, right? Ice Cube is making Are We There Yet? But go back and listen to the lyrics from America's Most Wanted, right? And I get it. But the fact of the matter is, when these record labels told you what kind of music to make, you made it. You made it. Because it was all about you. It wasn't about the community anymore. And you had they all had a common foil. White America, right? Law enforcement, right? Shoot to kill. What are you talking about? That's what you want young people to do? Hey, white America knew that listening to that music would make them want to be parts of gangs, would make them want to be lawless. And look how it worked out. 2.3 million people incarcerated. We hold one out of the world's 5 prisoners. What are we, 10% of the world's, 5% of the world's population? And we got 20% of the world's prison population.
That number's got to be going up with the concentration camps, right? I mean, it's not quote. We may not call it prison. No one will keep those statistics, but it's just more people incarcerated. I mean, now we're through the roof now. I mean, I guess prison guard is going to be like the most. You know, and the employment numbers will come out, and prison guard will be the only number that's going up, while everyone else is being laid off. All right. Well, I asked for an honest conversation. I got one.
Got it, bro. You know, I'm not gonna pull any punches with you, baby. Not after you told me what white America was not invested in.
They were invested in white America was invested in gangster rap, though.
Yes, they were.
A lot of white people made a lot of money off of that.
Prisons. Yes, sir. That the head of Core Civic makes $4 million a year, probably plus bonuses, and they're still building. What does that tell you?
Tells us we the people haven't done anything about it. We're just sitting back watching this shit still.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, my brother.
Woo, okay. Good stuff.
Good heat.
Always a pleasure, Mark. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Same here. Talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.